options trader who bet against Russia can't cash out on an estimated $370 million earnings made according to Bloomberg. What are three top lessons from this? Let's break this down a little bit if we can.
It's more than one. There's a bunch of people.
It's a combination of people, yeah.
It's a combination of people. So it's interesting. Like we talked about options trading. When you buy or sell an option, when you buy, somebody must sell it. And when you sell it, somebody must want to buy it. And so we got to start with the premise of that so people can really understand it. And so there are a group of people who are watching the economy and watching the ruble in Russia. And they said, all right, if they're going to go to war, obviously anything that's using that currency is going to fall. And so they made puts on it. And those put, obviously, the market fell. Great call. It was a great call. The ruble fell. The market closed. And these people have puts that actually have gained money.
Let me just say something real quick.
Yeah,
false information in the chat. You don't have to be vaccinated to attend the event. So it's a live nation event. So they have their own regulations. You either have the vaccination card or a negative COVID test. So if you if you have a negative COVID test, then you can show the negative COVID test. So once again, that's the venue's protocol. But if you're not vaccinated, you can attend the event, but you just have to have a negative COVID test 48 hours prior.
Fellas, if Rihanna told you that she was going to leave ASAP Rocky for you, but you needed a negative, Photoshop something, make your way there. If I'm going to give this bundle, make your way there.
We're not encouraging that. Yeah, but I was sorry. So the market fell, but the interesting part is that the market actually closed, right? So it's suspended, but it closed. Therefore, anything that had ties to it. So a lot of people put puts on the ruble, and they had ETFs, Russian ETFs. And so if your puts actually netted money and you can't sell them, now what do you do? And so this has accumulated to over $370 million of people saying, well, I made the right call and it netted money and I can't sell it now. So now they're just stuck holding it. The problem is that some of these puts are extended out, right? And we always tell people, like, if you're going to do a put, make sure that it's no further than maybe 6 weeks to maybe 8 weeks, right? So some people have done that. Their contracts are expiring this Friday. Now, what's the chances of the Russian market opening by this Friday? Highly unlikely. And so those people are now left holding the money that they thought they should have received. And so that's like a whole legal thing now.
Even worse.
Yeah.
When they finally open, it's going to limit up like crazy. So,
right.
I know this is probably where most people think, given that it's options, I'm going to come in and rant and scream, but I feel sorry for these traders. It's a dirty game. I'm going to be honest. Like, this is why I tell you, if you've ever seen The Big Short, there was a part in the movie when they was telling Steve Carell's character, you have to sell. Because if you actually short to zero and the company is insolvent or the asset is insolvent, guess what? You won't get any money. Number two, you have to follow what the whales are doing. So when you guys are looking at your exits, and that's why I'm always, so if the bottom is $2, I want to get out $1 or $2 before, so that there's enough liquidity there for me to actually liquidate the position and take advantage of it. For some of those guys that made that trade, this is a trade of a lifetime that they'll never get paid on. Imagine like hitting a game winner in game 7 over LeBron, and then the NBA just waves it off like, hey, no, Adam Silver's like, we're not gonna have LeBron lose this year. That's what happened to them. And finally, I'll say, when you're trading markets that are exotic like this, you have to do a great job at monitoring that volume. I saw one trader say he got up to 174% return in like one day. You have to take some of that money out. So 50%, 100%, take some of the profit off and then let the rest run and you're fine. But this has happened before in futures. Like, I knew a guy who lost $523,000 in one night, and the weekend after he ran into expiration, he would have been up $2 million. But all the whales ran against his position into expiration, even though his call was right. So when I tell you guys, you got to play defense against everyone, including the brokers, the whales, the brokerage firms, institutions, everyone. I feel bad for these guys that lost that money.
You know what makes it even more interesting is that not only are they not going to get the money that they would have making the right call, right? I think there was a gentleman who, the profit was 50,000, right? On top of it, he's going to expire worthless. So even the 5,000 that he invested to get the put is now going too.
Yeah.
Right. So on top of them thinking that they were gaining money, they're actually going to lose that and what they invested. So it is a dirty game.
It happened to me. It happened to you too.
Yeah.
GameStop. So
I remember that.
Yeah.
Last year we put a put on GameStop. I forgot the details of it, but we put a put on GameStop when GameStop was running. And when GameStop started to go down, it was up like 1,000%, like 800%, something like that. Some crazy number. And put like 5,000 in, and the 5,000 was like 50,000, or 35,000
within an hour.
Like and I tried to sell. Yeah, same day.
Yeah.
Within an hour. It was heated. We was in that group text. Oh, I remember.
We was in the Uber, like trying. I'm like, yo, I need Wi-Fi.
No, I tried to sell it, and it wouldn't sell, and I ended up losing money on that. So it happened to me, firsthand experience. I was up for whatever reason. Not enough liquidity in the market. Nobody wanted to buy it. Blame it on the platform.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I'm still not really sure what happened, but I wasn't able to sell it. None of us was able to sell it. And ended up losing money on it.
Yeah. I think this one is I mean, it's similar in the sense, but like their market is completely closed. So there's no chance, right? Like their market, I mean, who knows when that market is going to open back up?
It opened up after all those dead positions are cleared out. And I said this on Ransom Gems, like, shout out to Matt Keon, I appreciate you. Like, I used to have friends in Atlanta that used to do mortgages, and that once they got past 7 closed deals, they would get a crazy bonus. They'll get to deal number 6, and all of a sudden the pipeline will freeze until the next calendar month. That's why I tell you, like, you guys have to look at every angle of what can go wrong and factor that in. That's why I even tell you with your bank account. Check your bank account 3 times a day. The bank will steal from you. Brokers cut slippage. Shout out to everybody, in Red Panda. How many slippage issues have you had with a particular broker? And then you have to make them go fix something. Then all of a sudden they'll backdate 6 months worth of potential losses and then refund you. Check over those accounts like crazy, because anything can go wrong.
Yeah. Very true. Okay. So what are the chances of a global recession striking this year? Global recession. I spoke to Josh Brown this weekend too. Maybe I'll share some of my conversation that I had with him. But,
go ahead, fire away.
Yeah. Well, he made an interesting post. Shout out to Josh. He made an interesting post over the weekend that I found interesting on Instagram, when he was talking about, what exactly did he say again? It was
his thing was like, in times. So the premise of it was, in times of fear or in times of uncertainty, do less.
We don't know how long this thing is going to last.
So let's do less.
So I was asking, I just like to get people's different opinions on different things. So he was pretty much saying, that he said, usually it's a bad sign if we hit bear market or close to bear market territory and we don't bounce back quickly. If it takes a long time to bounce back, then that's usually a sign that it's going to be a prolonged bear market. Mm-hmm. And then, also that we talk about market Mondays all the time, as far as with Russia and inflation and different things of that nature. He did say one interesting thing is that inflation can't keep at the same pace. So at some point, inflation is going to start to, get reeled in a little bit, because he was like, it's unsustainable. The inflation rate is unsustainable right now. But he did say, it's one of these things that could potentially be a buying opportunity, but more of a long-term situation, because it could potentially last longer than option contracts have to expire. Mm-hmm. And if you're trying to play that game, you can get caught in the mix. And if it takes, like, let's say 20 months or 18 months to recover, and you got a 12-month option, you just running out of time. You just ran out of time. You don't have enough time. So it was a very interesting conversation. And just, was saying that, it's going to take a while. I think a lot of people got spoiled last time with the quickest recovery in history when the global pandemic first hit. But that's not normal. Usually, it takes longer. A bear market takes longer, and we haven't had a bear market in a very long time. So, it's one of these things where it's an uncomfortable situation. Nobody likes it. He also spoke about how, that's what he said in the Instagram post, in those up days that we've had, like last week, that's not something to really like champion like this. It's over. No, that's just one day.
No,
like,
no,
you know what I
no.
mean? Like, don't get your hopes up. So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of interesting stuff.
He was saying, I mean, obviously when we talked about correction, we said anywhere between 6 to 20%. The NASDAQ passed that to the point where it's now in bear territory.
No, NASDAQ's been in bear
territory.
territory.
It's been in bear territory. That's what I'm saying. And so like, that's not also true for the Dow yet. So we still got room.
It's getting close.
It's getting close. I was saying we still got room.
Oh, that's another thing.
Well,
I knew this, but he said it also. There's still a lot more room for it to go down. Even if you look at the NASDAQ is 23% or something like that off of its all-time high, which that would be concerning. That's bear. That's a bear market. What's even more concerning is that it's up 100% from 2 years ago. So granted, that was in the global pandemic and the stock market crashed, but all in all, it's still relatively high. It's just that it went up so high. It went up so high that even it coming down 23% is still extremely high.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot more room for it to go down. That should be extremely concerning to anybody that's holding option contracts.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.